chromo is color pigment separation. It was initiated. That's what the term has come. But basically, chromatography, we have different type of chromatographies. So first we'll go with the paper chromatography. Actually, at our BSc and MSc level, we have this in our syllabus, so that these people, even botany, zoology people, they must be doing the chromatography techniques. So we'll do first paper chromatography, then I will go TLC, then HPLC, then GC. Like gradually will increase its complexity. So basically, what is paper chromatography? What is the principle of paper chromatography? Here, paper chromatography is a one type of partition chromatography. Partition, see here, in any chromatography, there must be a stationary phase and mobile phase. Stationary phase provides the adsorption, the attraction towards the biomolecules, whatever the molecules that are going to separate. So there will be a partition of your biomolecules that need to be separated in between stationary phase and mobile phase. So this is called as partition chromatography. When you are taking a paper, and when you are cellulose paper, and you are putting it into the what you call mobile phase, it could be a water buffer, phosphate buffer, or it could be a acetonitrile or butanol water, or whatever the mobile phase. Then when you are taking, then water will be migrating against the gravitational forces, it will be migrating top. So there will be a partition layers. See, there will be a stationary phase, the paper cellulose at the backmost layer, and some water, like cellulose, pure cellulose is hydrophobic. And so whatever the hydrophobic solvent is there, that will be very closely attached to the paper. And the away from the paper will be the hydrophilic or polar. Paper paper strip is non-polar, and the solvent which is the non-polar will be very close to the paper, and very far is the polar, that is water is a polar, otherwise buffer, phosphate buffer. So here it is being partitioned into three layers. One is cellulose strip, and the center is hydrophobic solvent, and the outermost is your polar solvent. So this how it is partitioned. And the biomolecules, whatever you are separating, they are partitioned in these three layers. Like amino acids, they are of different, some of them are polar, some of them are neutral, some of them are non-polar hydrophobic amino acid, alanine, valine, and aromatic amino acids. These are all non-polar. Polar, aspartic acid, aspargine, which are having the positive and negative charges. And some of them are neutral, like glycine is a neutral one. So it will be there. So whatever the non-polar are there, they will be attracted in the hydrophobic region. Which is the hydrophobic region? Is here the cellulose strip, and the polar ones will be at the top, that is in polar mobile phase. So here what happened, the mobile phase, here the polar will be migrating fast, and the non-polar, as it is attached to the cellulose strip, it is a bit slow, and anyhow stationary phase is not going to move. So the biomolecules which are there in the polar, they will be migrating fast, they will be separated fast. Here molecular biology is, molecular size is not much to do here, but here the biophysical properties of your biomolecules, here molecules plays very important role here. See, both the polar molecules are there. In such cases, low molecular weight will be separated fast, and higher molecular will be separated later. So in like here, amino acids, if you are separating on paper chromatography, when you apply on paper and you put it in the separation buffer, they will be separated in three layers. Topmost layer is the polar, so polar amino acids will be migrating fast, and then neutral amino acids, they will be migrating with intermediate speed, and the last one is non-polar, and non-polar will be, as it is binded with the stationary phase, its mobility is going to be very slow. And here with this principle, I will start the paper chromatography. Here the basic thing that what you have learned maybe during your childhood, there is a separation of the plant pigments will do, because the for botany zoology people also, I want they should be also be involved in this process. So let's see this process, how to do. Basically, we need to take the leaves for separation of pigments. So these leaves you need to make into pieces, small pieces, and you need to add little bit of a stone, because it dissolves the pigments, and a little amount of corrosive substance, and grind your whatever the leaves are there in mortar and pestle. Here it should be completely grinded, and whatever your pigments are there, they will be dissolved in acetone, that is organic solvent, because your pigments are organic in nature. And here you are supposed to take chromatography paper, and you need to make a mark on 12 centimeters above the base point. And anyhow, here you are separating only one sample. When you are having multiple samples, you are supposed to take a bigger paper, chromatography paper, and you are supposed to put multiple points over there. And you are supposed to take, here we are doing with the needle, but capillary dispensers are there. And if you want to increase the sample, then you can dry with your hair dryer, and you can load some more sample. But while you are separating the amino acids, huge amount of sample may not be required. Even if you are taking a single buffer, even if you are taking the mobile phase water in this case, what happens here? A little water will be attached with the cellulose paper, cellulose strip, and it is not easily moving like the outside mobile phase is concerned. Even if you are using single buffer, still it is having the three partitions over there. There is the first one, paper, paper attached water, and only water. And here you are supposed to put the strip. Make sure that your whatever the dropper, whatever the spot is there, that should not dip into the mobile phase. Now wait for some time. Actually, this complete chamber should be moisturized, so that capillary forces will be high and it will be moving fast. See, this is kept in the chamber, electrophotic chromatographic chambers. Now it will migrate. And once the migration is over, immediately mark till which point the solvent has been migrated, because this is very important to find out the RF value, retention factor, immediately. Because if you are making delay, see, that is the point. If you are delaying, it will be dried otherwise. You will not be able to know till which point the solvent has been migrated. In this case, actually, you need not to do the development of colors, because already these chlorophylls, xanthophylls, carotenoids, they are colored substances. Whereas in case of amino acids, we will be applying color developing substances. So here, see, the topmost is carotenoids, identification of pigments with RF value, distance of distance moved by pigment, distance moved by the solvent front. The solvent front, the one which we are calculating immediately after the completion of the, there is a paper chromatography. So we'll see with this case, this particular example. You can see the carotenoid, the topmost is a carotenoid. The total migration is 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters, yeah, 5 centimeters. And see, it is almost near to, carotenoids have migrated. So the RF value is almost 0.89 to 0.98 of carotenes. It will migrate almost to the solvent front. So with RF, standard RF values are available anyhow. But see, in this case, we have mentioned 0.89 to 0.98 because this value varies with experimental conditions. So if you are running a standard with you, so these two will match 99 to 100%. Whereas if you, whenever you are taking reference standard, like somebody else, the data of somebody else processed, then always it must be having little deviation. So you need not to worry about it. Now we'll go with the problem with paper chromatography. Paper is very thin. You must be aware about it. So after separation, the molecules, biomolecules cannot be separated back, and very little amount of sample is loaded on this case. So to overcome those problems, that TLC has come, thin layer chromatography. Actually, thin layer chromatography works on the same principle, but it is a yeah. Thin layer chromatography is also a partition chromatography, but the thing is here we apply larger amount, the thickness of your chromatography paper, chromatography stationary phase is thicker than that of your paper chromatography. Generally, alumina or silica gel will be applying over the background, that it could be a plastic or aluminum plate or whatever. So here you will be having a stationary phase, will be having a additional support also, whereas in paper chromatography, paper itself support as well as stationary phase. But in this case, TLC, you are along with your separation, this you will be having a back support of stationary phase, like it could be a plastic or it could be aluminum or metallic sheet which is supported backside, and over that sheet you will be applying in normal small scale. If you are doing TLC, we'll be taking slides, glass microscopic slides will be taking, and we'll be applying, we'll be preparing slurry will be preparing, and will be preparing a thin coat over there. And this coat, obviously it will be thicker than that of your paper you are using in paper chromatography. So you can load more amount of sample in this case. And silica, as it is a matrix, you can cut it easily, and that particular band, that particular section of biomolecule can be separated easily. That is the advantage of doing this TLC. So here we will explain with a ready-made TLC plate, but we already Merck is providing excellent. See, this is the Merck TLC plate, but you can prepare small scale if you are practicing at your college level. Then you can prepare the TLC plates using your slide itself. So about 2 centimeters from the base, you will be making a line, and for putting the samples. And see, there is a specific chamber here, and which is called as chromatographic chamber. And here the electroforces will be there's a chromatography separation will be taking place. We'll see the experiment now. We'll take see, normally whenever you are doing chromatographies, wear the gloves, because of any residue that is coming in contact with the paper. It could be a protein or carbohydrate or anything that will give an impression on your chromatographic papers. So make a line about 2 centimeters from the base, and based on the, that is line is called as origin, where the spotters are assigned. Here we have 4 samples, A, B, C, D. Here one unknown is there, and 2 standards we are taking. Generally we run Just now I told you, because running condition varies from place to place. So it is better always to run the standards also. So the retention times, the RF values will be same. This unknown could be either X or Y, or it must be having both X and Y. Generally, when you use amino acids, MSc students of life sciences are doing amino acid separation by paper chromatography or TLC. So these are the capillary tubes. We can use them as applicators. Take and apply it over the spot. Generally, the suspension concentration of these standards will be preparing 1 mg per ml. And don't apply too much. This is number 2. The 2 points it has been applied. Now we'll take unknown and make sure that you are using different capillaries. Otherwise, the sample will be cross contaminated. Capillaries are the same what we use for clotting time, blotting time, CTBT. In third, both are applied, and the fourth is unknown in this case. Now, we are taking the mobile phase in chromatographic chamber, and we need to allow it for some time for saturation. So that moisture, the humidity will be filled over there. Now, carefully, without touching your bare hands, you place your chromatography TLC paper, TLC sheet in the chromatographic chamber and allow it for the separation. The same thing in paper chromatography here also, due to capillary forces, your solvent is being migrated over the stationary phase. And here the biomolecules get separated based on the principle of partition chromatography. Now, after taking it out, immediately make a mark of solvent front till which point it has been. Now, dry it. See, in some cases, like in last case, because the pigments are colored already, easily that can be separated. And in some cases, the molecules are having like aromatic caffeine, such kind of things. If you are separating, they will be having fluorescence. So they can be separated. See here. This is A, this is a B, and these two were taken in this case, AB. So this is corresponding for A, and this is corresponding for B, whereas this is unknown. So from this experiment, we can conclude that unknown is nothing but A. And this, you are, as it is having the fluorescence to it, we are observing under the UV. But in general cases, we don't do UV observation, like if you are doing with amino acid separation, if you are doing with sugars. So what you will do when it is the case of amino acids, we'll be spraying a developer in that case. Anhydrine solution, 1% anhydrine solution in ethanol will be spraying over there. So you will be getting a color. So in this case, the band is the amount of molecules that is separated is more than that of paper chromatography. So this band you can cut this, because it is a silica basically, or alumina also some cases you can use. So you can easily cut that one and you can extract it out. We can cut that particular region. See here, just to find out the RF values, because when you take it out, that is not visible. So we are supposed to make a identification mark over there. Now we'll calculate the RF values like what we did for paper chromatography. It is the same. So RF value is nothing but the distance migrated by the compound or substance by the distance migrated by the solvent front. So here the first spot is X, second is Y, and third is X and Y unknown, as it is corresponding, its RF value is corresponding with the X, as its RF value is corresponding with X. So it is X. This is how to calculate. Anyhow, we have seen this part. The solvent, if it is a one, it is completely non-polar. So generally, carotenes are non-polar. RF values of X is 0.36, Y is 0.74. So here 59 by 28.5. Here 28 by 80. This is 80, I think. So you'll get 0.35. This is how to calculate the RF values. And record your observations and keep the spots photographed cap plates with you, because these TLC papers, because we are applying alumina or silica gel, that cannot be retained for very long period. Paper chromatography can be retained still, but this cannot be retained for long because it gets dissociated. So that is the problem. You take a photograph and you can put it as a record. This is about these two, paper chromatography and TLC. Almost both are same, only the quantity, the thickness is different. For principle is the same in both the cases. Now we will go for